So this is pretty much Katniss revealing to Peeta everything that Peeta has not known about up until this point. And he gets really upset. Obviously, he breaks a lamp and says and tells Haymitch and Katniss that they have to stop playing this game, and they have to stop keeping secrets from him, etc. Okay, my first question, we kind of touched on this last week or a couple of weeks ago. What do you all think is going to happen with the Victory Tour in the movie? Do you think that they will include this whole showdown in District 11 since they already showed rioting in the first film?
I'm going with what Tiffany Kostansky, Twiffity of Welcome to District 12 and Victor's Village, has said. Montage. She's been pushing this, and I'm sorry, and Courtney has too, Courtney Custodio. They've been saying montage for weeks, and I just feel like there's a great chance that montage could happen. And I'm hoping for the montage, just for the hell of it.
But I think they'll break off in District 11 and show that. They visit District 11 first, right? So I think that they will probably show District 11 and then do a montage for the rest of the district.
Yeah, and of course they might not do a montage. So nobody take me as that. This is all speculation. I just want to make sure everybody knows that.
I think it makes more sense
right,
to do a montage, though. I mean, as far as the rest of the districts, I think you focus on 11 and then you go through there, because the book doesn't go into detail in the rest of the districts, so I can't imagine the film doing it.
Right.
So.
What kind of music do you envision playing in the background during this montage?
I was just thinking about that. I was just trying to envision what that would sound like. I don't know, because it could get cheesy if the wrong music is utilized.
So, ideally, I would love for this scene to happen. I guess the scene before, because we're kind of at the aftermath page, but for that man to get drug up on stage and then shot, and then for Katniss and Peeta to get whisked away in silence, and then have that be on the train, and just kind of silence with a little music building as they go through the districts.
I think something like that could work. I really hope that they do include this aftermath scene with Peeta confronting Haymitch and Katniss, because we talked about this last week. This book is so important for Peeta's character development, and a scene like this, I think, is important for his character. I don't know.
They could do it. Sorry.
No. Go ahead. I'm just kind of rambling.
No. Well, I think taking into consideration what Shylah was saying about them being whisked away on the train, they could take this scene and somehow incorporate it either with the train. I mean, I know we always have to worry about the Capitol listening, and that's why they go where they go, but I think they could do this, incorporate Whisk It Away, have this argument, all this stuff going on, while you're seeing, we're going, as they're on their way to another district and as it leads into the montage. So, a little bit, because that way you could get that scene, or you could get a sense of that scene with Peeta, and then go into, this montage that's got, I would assume, in a way, a bit of stressful music happening, because, to show, because you're going from the unrest of District 11 to these other districts, and just to show the strain and the stress that's happening in the other districts. And I think the music could portray the underling of what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I do think that. I think I'm trying to think of some montages in movies that we've liked.
Well, someone on Twitter. Oh, I'm sorry. I just interrupted you. That was so rude. Go ahead.
Oh, it's okay. If the person on Twitter, the montage that Tiffany has been pushing for a couple of weeks, and Courtney, is this ridiculous one, the montage song from Team America. But that is not the kind of montage that I'm looking for, although that's definitely amusing. I was going to suggest, if one of the best montages that just occurred to me, and I Theresa and Shylah, I know you're going to be on board with this. Crystal, I think you'll like this as well. And Kait, I'm pretty confident.
Probably what I was going to say, too.
Is the Dumbledore's Army montage.
Oh, I love that.
Harry Potter, Order of the Phoenix. That is fantastic. So that's proof that you can do a montage properly, and it can be really effective in a YA fantasy series. So, points for montage. If they can have music like that, although I guess that's not really appropriate for this kind of montage. But I mean music that's as fitting for the setting as that was.
If, you're going the Harry Potter route, the beginning of Deathly Hallows Part 1, where you kind of have those three different stories with Harry, Ron, and Hermione, getting that, building of dread, which I feel is what's happening with the Victory Tour, is everything looks like it's going to be fine, and then District 11 happens, and that has to cast this just cloud over the rest of the tour, where you're not sure if you're going to kill more people everywhere you go. I mean, how heavy is that?
Obliviate.
Rach Keneally on Twitter, this was back when we were talking about music, and she suggested something like they play during the Battle of Hogwarts in Deathly Hallows Part 2. And I think music like that might work. I don't know. I need to rewatch that part, because every time I've seen the film, for some reason I sob during the Battle of Hogwarts. It's too much for me to handle. I just can't handle it. You know what will be really interesting to see? How they balance the film, how much time they devote to the pre-Quarter Quell stuff, and then how much time they devote to the actual third Quarter Quell. That's something I'm personally interested in seeing, because you could spend, an hour just on the stuff that happens before the game, and you could spend, 2 hours in the games, I think. Even though it doesn't take up much of the book, I think that, when portrayed on film, I think it will be a bit longer. Well, any random thoughts on that?
Well, considering that they're in the arena for not even 3 days.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when you think about it all together, it's I would hope for some kind of equal balance, but I have a feeling they're going to lean more heavily towards the arena. Just because it is where the action is going to be, but
yeah.
I think they need to weight it actually in thirds and do the third of District 12 or the Victory Tour or whatever. But I think that they need to spend a lot more time in the training center, because so much happens with the development of the new victors, and then, the stuff with Cinna, those interviews, we see all of those interviews in the books. And I feel like that's got to be, if they can do, how long is a 2-hour movie? 120 minutes? 40, that might be nice.
Yeah, I agree with you, Sha. I do hope they do more. I mean, they did a nice job with that in Hunger Games, but yet there could have been, a bit more, I guess, if you will. There could have been a little bit more character development at that point. I mean, as far as for some of the supporting characters, I mean, even just a bit more of the interview, or a bit more, not even long periods, but with Catching Fire, that whole thing is where suddenly, at one point, Katniss says, Peeta, how are we going to kill these people? Because they have gotten to know them so well, and that needs to come across.
The scene with the victors, I think, is the most powerful. It's one of the most powerful scenes in the series for me, is when they are all standing together holding hands, and I don't think you'll get that impact unless they work you up to it and you're genuinely invested in people other than Katniss and Peeta.